After 2 years of marriage, my mother-in-law and wife never expected that my father-in-law and I would both fake our deaths and leave on the same day. Both of us were sons-in-law of wealthy families, and after marriage we lived harmoniously and peacefully. But one day, my father-in-law suddenly grabbed my hand, crying, "Outside! Your mother has been keeping a young lover. They even have a child over 10 years old. We've been deceived for over a decade, making us the laughingstock of society." Hearing this, my nose burnt. "Dad, actually, Selena also has someone else now. She even bought him a villa." We hugged and cried for a long time. Finally, my father-in-law sighed. "People will push further when they see weakness. I don't need that woman anymore. Wherever I go, you follow. I don't need that daughter either." We were in perfect agreement. Afterward, we began plotting our escape. After much deliberation, faking our deaths seemed the best solution. Although my father-in-law came from a prestigious family, he had been close to my mother-in-law since childhood, like childhood sweethearts. At 20, he became the son-in-law of the Selena family, dedicating himself to being a supportive husband. He was gentle, but decisive when needed. Despite his age, he wasn't feeble. "That's all I have," he said. "How should we start?" I looked at the account information he gave me. My eyes lit up. 20 billion. My father-in-law was truly wealthy. Compared to him, I was pitiful, with only 30 million. But with that money, we could live 3 lifetimes comfortably. My father-in-law completely followed my lead, and I began to act. In 2 days, it was my mother-in-law's birthday. We planned a party on a yacht, novel and easy to escape. Time was tight, so we hired outsiders to handle everything. As for the reason for faking our deaths, of course it was that man. If he accepted the villa Selena gifted him, he must take responsibility. On the birthday, I wore a mature suit, expressionless. My mother-in-law, Diana, stood beside him, still graceful despite her age, attracting many envious glances. My father-in-law smiled from afar, nodding at me. We understood each other implicitly. Then my wife Selena approached, hugging my arm. "You look so handsome tonight," she whispered, her warmth making me instinctively step aside. "You're also very beautiful tonight, attracting so many people." Their gazes have killed me countless times. Many handsome young men stared at Selena. She leaned her cheek on my shoulder, murmuring, "They can only look at me. But I belong to you alone." I tried to pull away, but she held on. "Ryan, that building is very valuable. It seems very special to you, doesn't it?" Hearing this, Selena suddenly let go, serious. "Don't misunderstand. It's all for work, you understand, right? You're spending for love," my father-in-law said coldly. But Selena wanted to explain further. I patted her shoulder. "Let go. Greet Dad." Ryan approached, holding her back, while I went to my father-in-law. When I reached him, he led me to the yacht's deck. "Are you ready?" he asked. "Don't worry. I'm ready," I replied. We smiled at each other. Then Ryan arrived. "Both of you are here?" My father-in-law became wary. "You seduced my daughter into buying you a house, and now you dare to face me?" My father-in-law couldn't hold back, punching Ryan. Ryan stumbled. I stood by, sneering. "Who do you think you are? My father only has one daughter, Selena. What kind of brother are you?" Ryan's fans would be shocked to know he's so shameless. Enraged, Ryan rushed at me. My father-in-law and I struggled with him. Suddenly, I accidentally fell backward, tumbled over the railing, and fell into the sea. My father-in-law shouted, lunging to grab my hand. But Ryan, terrified, stepped back, stammering, "No, it wasn't me. Who are you?" "Return my son-in-law." My father-in-law grabbed him, dragging him to the railing. Ryan panicked, pushed my father-in-law out. Suddenly, a heart-wrenching scream echoed from afar. Everyone on the yacht panicked, searching for us. From a distance, I was rescued. My father-in-law trembled beside me. "Are you okay, son?" We wrapped ourselves in blankets, watching the yacht drift away. Finally, breathing a sigh of relief. After reaching shore safely, we sat on the sofa, watching the news. The headline shocked us. Selena family's birthday party turns into tragedy. Father-in-law and son-in-law fall into the sea. Still missing. On the screen, Ryan's face was pale, eyes red, crying. I didn't mean to. I didn't push them. They fell on their own. Ryan was arrested by the police, while Selena and Diana looked tense. Especially Selena, who now seemed frail. After watching, I curled my lips and turned off the TV. My father-in-law patted my hand. Don't worry. They're just putting on a show. We're both dead. They must be overjoyed. Just wait and see. Ryan will be out in less than 2 days. And Diana's lover will appear. I nodded. Exactly as my father-in-law thought. 2 days later, Ryan was released due to insufficient evidence. When he was freed, Selena personally went to pick him up. Surrounded by reporters, cameras flashed. They asked, did Ryan argue with the 2 men when the accident happened? Is this related to their fall? Has Mr. Victor reconciled with Ryan now? How is the Liu family's recent situation? Have they given up searching? Selena's face darkened as she answered, everything must be on official announcements. Watching the video, I couldn't help but sneer. Selena, you're really too much. This man is your heart, so you can't bear to be angry with him? You even protect him. Furious, I turned off the video and began a world tour with my father-in-law. With money, life was truly enjoyable. To ensure safety, we opened an overseas account so no one could trace us. Every day was filled with parties and carefree fun. Blissful. However, I wondered what Selena would think.
No bodes. No funeral.
Leading to rumors across all levels of society. Did the Selena family's father-in-law and son-in-law really die? The gossip spread everywhere. Meanwhile, I basked in the sun daily, admiring beautiful girls on the beach. Life couldn't be more comfortable. After half a year of leisure, I grew slightly bored and returned home with my father-in-law to open a homestay in a tourist area, welcoming guests and making money. Life was truly leisurely and blissful. News about us on newspapers and TV gradually faded. Initially, I thought life would continue like this, and my father-in-law agreed. We even called each other father and son, occasionally visiting bars together and meeting beautiful women. My father-in-law was really carefree, often dragging me to discuss girls. But this wonderful life suddenly ended. During peak tourist season, our homestay business was booming. I received a large booking, a couple renting for a month, paying an extra $20 million, requesting no other stay. Of course, I agreed immediately, confident they were a young couple. I must serve them well. My father-in-law was also delighted. Before the guests arrived, he took me to take night-style photos. Live your life fully, he said. Look at yourself. You're still very handsome. In a few days, I'll introduce you to a blind date. You're still young. Don't let Selena ruin your life. His words warmed my heart, and I knew he meant it. We understood each other. Selena was just an unexpected twist. If I met someone fated, I wouldn't refuse. As for my father-in-law, I noticed Aunt Hong from next door often came by. Was he planning to start a new life? He pursed his lips. Meline isn't bad, but compared to Diana, she's still a bit lacking. I was surprised. Dad, do you still remember my mother-in-law? He rolled his eyes full of disgust. Since I knew she was worthless, I never thought of being with her again. But you know, we were childhood sweethearts together for so many years. At least for now, I can't let another woman catch my eye. Then he changed his tone. But recently, a few young girls are quite appealing. I might give them a try. Hearing this, my eyes lit up. It seemed men of any age still preferred young beauties. This was too simple. I snapped my fingers. I heard the bar 3 blocks away just got a few beautiful new girls, all types. Let's go check them out tonight. My father-in-law and I immediately agreed, deciding to leave that night. After finishing the night-style photos, the makeup artist took a few more shots of me, praising non-stop. You're the most elegant client I've ever worked with. Can I post this online? I hurriedly said. Just the profile, not the front. No problem, she said, taking a side view and posting it online to promote her work. I didn't think much of it. That evening, I changed clothes and took my father-in-law straight to the bar. Though nearly 50, he had lived in luxury since childhood, so his face showed no signs of age. Under the dim lights, we sat on the sofa as the manager skillfully called a group of female models for us to choose from. I threw 2 stacks of money on the table. Choose the most beautiful. Don't let any unattractive ones come here. The manager quickly brought the newcomers forward. I clicked my tongue, sighing. Anyone else? I heard 2 beauties just arrived. My father-in-law twisted his diamond watch, and the manager's eyes brightened. Rest assured, they'll be here right away. Only then did I nod and wait. After a long wait, still no one came. I sighed. Seems this place isn't great. The quality needs reconsidering. As I finished speaking, 2 figures entered. Their silhouettes looked familiar, both wearing masks, exuding elegance in simple long dresses. My eyes suddenly brightened and I sat up straight. Sir, these are the treasures of our bar, the manager said. I nodded, gesturing for him to leave. After entering, they looked at my father-in-law and me, making my spine chill. Something felt off. My heart skipped a beat. Dad, do these 2 seem off to you? They're beautiful, but I feel like I've seen them before. One of the women stepped forward, hugging me. The unique snow pine fragrance on her made my heart race. Satisfied? The familiar voice asked, making my head spin. I froze, trembling as I removed her mask, revealing Phoenix eyes staring at me. You're so clever, bringing my father here for fun. Are you done playing? On the other side, Diana removed her mask, smiling triumphantly. My father-in-law's face darkened. Victor, explain immediately. My father-in-law's eyes rolled back, fainting on the spot. I wanted to faint too, but the next second Selena grabbed my arm, pulling me close and kissing me. I pushed her away, wiping my mouth in disgust. Don't touch me. Aren't you with Ryan? Don't come here pretending to be a loving wife. Don't make me feel disgusted. Selena stared at me for a long time, then laughed loudly. There's no Ryan. Don't deceive me. I've seen everything. Even the reporters said so. How long do you plan to lie to me? Hearing this, she laughed louder. Are you jealous? Get out of my head. My mother-in-law pulled my father-in-law up. Selena, handle your own matters. Let me deal with your father. With that, she dragged him out of the room. I tried to follow but was blocked by Selena, who wrapped her arm around my neck. I struggled to break free. There are guests here. Let go of me. The guest is me. I'm the one who booked the place. I was struck by lightning. How could it be her? I should have realized earlier. No one would generously pay to rent for a month. Selena pulled me into the room, hands on her hips. You can't deny this woman is quite beautiful with an exquisite figure. It's been months since I've been infatuated with beautiful girls, but facing Selena, I still couldn't help staring. What do you want? I should have asked her, but she pressed me. You dared to fake your death to deceive others. Not only did you die, but you also took my father to cause chaos. You forced me to this. You bought a villa for Ryan. A woman like you who cheats has no right to question me. After speaking, I stood up to leave but was pushed onto the bed, my hands tightly held. There's nothing between me and Ryan. It's not what you think. Stop lying. You know he pushed me into the sea, yet you still vouched for him, saying nothing happened. How could you be so despicable? Then I took the opportunity to push her away, open the door and run out, but I was blocked by security. Sir, the president said you can't leave this villa. I turned around fiercely, glaring at Selena chasing me. You can't go out. If you dare leave, your family won't live in peace. Leaving? I didn't tell them, not daring to contact my family for fear of involving them. Now Selena used them to threaten me, making me clench my fists. You don't need to look at me like that. I just know both you and my father must pay for this. Selena raised her hand, signaling me to follow. I took a deep breath. Let's go. Who's afraid? I just didn't know how my father-in-law was now. I looked at the upstairs room. It seemed noisy inside. Selena covered my eyes. Don't worry. No matter what, my mother won't harm your father. I shook her hand off, looking at her contemptuously. You two are the same. Your mother keeps a lover outside and has an illegitimate child. You also keep a man outside and bought him a villa. Your position won't last long. That child outside will surely come back to seize your family's assets. Selena looked at me doubtfully. Illegitimate child? Seizing family assets? Are you over 180 minutes into the day spending all day with my father? What did you learn?
Ich lehrte her.
This is all caused by you too. Why blame me? You really need to fix your head. My mother doesn't have an illegitimate child. Ryan and I don't have the relationship you think. Then explain why he pushed me and your father into the sea. Why did you vouch for him? The villa outside was bought by you for him, right? Answer me. True or not? Selena reluctantly said. Yes, but isn't that over? If so, let's divorce. Are you serious about divorce? Of course. I don't want to live with you anymore. From the start, I made it clear. I agreed to stay married but needed you to be devoted to me, not have affairs outside our marriage. Our relationship can't have a third party. Selena looked at me strangely. Ryan is just a new talent in my company. I let him earn money through acting in commercials. I only gave him the right to use that building, not ownership. Moreover, the assets are all in your name. Hearing this, I was stunned. Selena, fearing I wouldn't believe her, took out her phone to show me photos of the villa registered under my name. I told Ryan this is for him to stay temporarily. He can live there as long as he likes. Do you understand? I don't understand. All I know is you cared for him publicly and let him freely use the Selena family's reputation.
Ik leer daher.
Let's divorce. Each will live their own life. Whoever you support later has nothing to do with me. As I finished, Aurora came from the adjacent room. My father-in-law's voice trembled. Stop deceiving me. That man is just short of bringing it to my face, Diana. We've been through so many hardships together, and you treat me like this. A loud crash echoed as my father-in-law slammed the door, stepped out, saw me, approached and grabbed my hand. Teary, forget them. Chase them out. I was a bit awkward. But Dad, the guests who booked the homestay for a month are them. What? My father-in-law was astonished. Unbelievable. Such bad luck. Then pay them to leave. Diana stepped out. We don't need money. Victor, listen to me. Explain. Let's divorce. Find a lawyer to handle it. If we can't agree, we'll sue. My father-in-law and I looked at each other, both ready to resolve this. My mother-in-law, hearing this, clutched her chest, her face pale. You don't trust me? How could I have time to cheat and have a child when I've been with you for so long? She seemed about to faint, but my father-in-law ignored her, coldly saying, Stop pretending. I'm telling you. Before he could finish, there was a sudden rumble. My mother-in-law collapsed. My father-in-law shouted, Diana, wake up. Selena, you damned girl. What are you doing? Your mother fainted. Hurry up and call an ambulance. Selena, extremely worried, rushed her to the hospital. I followed. My father-in-law paced outside, anxious. Seeing his worried look, I couldn't help asking, Dad, it seems you still care about her. Who said that? I'm just worried. If she dies in front of me, will we still be able to do business in the future? It made sense. I nodded repeatedly. If she died in our homestay, we'd surely go out of business. I sighed, seeing my father-in-law's stubborn expression. Selena nearby said in a deep voice, I don't know where Dad heard these rumors. Clearly nothing happened, yet you accused my mother like that. Don't help her anymore. That man, Richard. His son is 16, exactly like my mother and her. That child is truly her offspring. Just like her. My father-in-law angrily looked at her. Just as Selena was about to explain, my mother-in-law woke up, quickly grabbing her husband's hand. Victor, don't leave me. My father-in-law wasn't pleased. The doctor said the patient couldn't be emotionally agitated. Fluctuations could cause a cerebral hemorrhage. It was best to have a family member nearby. Seeing this, my father-in-law reluctantly stayed, then turned to me. You go rest outside first. Your father and I will stay in the room next door. Call if there's an issue. I wasn't reassured leaving my father-in-law alone, so I went to the adjacent room. Only my father and Selena were there. She was about to speak when her phone rang. Selena hurriedly silenced it, but I clearly saw Ryan's name on the screen. Answer it or he'll be upset. The ringing continued. Selena hesitated, finally answering. As soon as she picked up, her expression changed. What are you saying? I smirked. Her acting was decent. I shook my head, said nothing more, and turned to the window looking outside. Under the clear sky, distant lights flickered. I heard murmurs from the adjacent room. It seemed my in-laws were still arguing. I wondered if they'd reconcile. But between Selena and me, there was no chance of mending. Wait for me here. I have something to handle and I'll be back soon, she said, rushing out, leaving security guarding me. I smirked but felt heavy-hearted. Checking my phone, I received a message from Ryan. Between me and President Selena, it's not what you think. Please don't misunderstand. Seeing this hypocritical message, I was shocked. How did he know I was alive? And how did he even have my new number? At that moment, a deep male voice came from outside. Brother Zhang, don't scheme against me anymore. I know you're unhappy, but I truly didn't mean it. After all, Hyun's a descendant. Liam, quickly kneel down and apologize to your uncle. Immediately after, I heard a thud. My father-in-law angrily shouted, "Who's your uncle? You're crazy. How dare you come here to assert rights?" I rushed out to see a rather refined man leading a boy, kneeling before my father-in-law, his eyes red. I immediately pushed the man away. Are you insane daring to come here like this? I pointed at the security guards, ordering them to drag them out. The boy behind the man stepped forward. What are you planning to do? You're bullying my father. We clashed like two fighting beasts. Richard smiled bitterly. I just came to visit with no other intent. You're disturbing my in-law. Please leave immediately. Seeing my appearance, the two had no choice but to step aside, but they didn't leave. They just stood at the door. At that moment, my mother-in-law in the hospital room called for them to come in. I was furious, but my father-in-law remained calm, lightly patting my hand. Looking down at his phone, he was seemingly texting someone. I didn't know what Richard said after entering, but suddenly cries came from inside. My father-in-law and I looked at each other. He snorted. How despicable. I nodded repeatedly, suddenly thinking of Selena. Dad, it seems Ryan knows I'm alive. He just sent me a message. I showed my phone to him. He was stunned, about to speak, when the door opened. Victor and Ethan come in. My mother-in-law called my father-in-law and me. Diana, lying on the bed, asked me, "Introduce, this is Richard and Liam." I realized they needed no introduction. They're your mother's lover and illegitimate child, right? You've misunderstood, Richard said. This child is a descendant of the Selena family, but not of Diana. What? Isn't she dead? When my father-in-law realized something, Diana gently explained. Before she passed, she left behind a child. Richard sighed. I lived in the countryside with him for a while but couldn't survive. So I came to find Selena. This child has excellent academic performance but will be ruined if he follows me, Richard pleaded. I know he's just an outsider of the Selena family, but I have no other choice. Victor, I beg you to take Liam. I'd rather live in hardship with my son than lose him. Liam is very stubborn. Ben was like that at the time. I noticed the boy, still in his school uniform, surprised. He was actually Selena's aunt's son. But why hadn't my mother explained before? I asked Diana, who sighed. I only met Richard twice. I just transferred 10 million to him. When your father and son discovered it and wouldn't let him leave, I tried to clarify on my birthday, but they found out. I tried to invite them here to explain clearly. So my father-in-law had misunderstood Richard as his wife's lover. This was terrible. But luckily it was over now. I was stunned. Diana looked at me and said, Ethan, take them outside first. Victor, stay. I have something to discuss with you. At that moment, my father-in-law's face was a bit unnatural. I gently said, just speak directly. I'll always support you. He nodded. I left with Richard and his son. Outside, I apologetically said, I'm sorry for misunderstanding you. It's okay. It's my fault. I should have contacted Brother Zhang. Liam looks so much like his mother. It's no wonder Brother Zhang misunderstood. But what's going on between you and Selena? She doesn't seem the type to make mistakes. Mentioning Selena made me angry. Even now she hadn't returned. I'll take you to a hotel to rest first. It's late, we can talk tomorrow. Richard agreed. I took them to a nearby hotel to check in, then called Selena. But Ryan answered. Where's Selena? President Selena is busy. Please call back later, he said, then hung up. I clenched my fists. Damn it. How dare she lie to me? I hated her so much. I wished I could drag her out to settle everything clearly. But why did I let her leave me around like this? I called the security guards and ordered them. Find Selena immediately. If you can't, I'll kill you all. The guards hurriedly left. I contacted my lawyer, asking him to check if the city property was truly in my name. If it was, I wanted him to immediately notify Ryan to pack up and leave my house. Why let another man stay there? The lawyer acted quickly, confirming the asset was indeed mine. Thus Ryan had to move out. Under my measures, Ryan quickly lost his composure and called me. What's your intention? You're pushing me into a corner, aren't you? Isn't this what you wanted? I sneered. Since you've taken my woman, prepare to face the consequences. I'll give you a day to get out of my house. I hung up, blocked him. Now the worried one was Ryan. I wasn't in a hurry. An hour later, the guards brought Selena back. Her face was flushed, her hands tightly holding mine, refusing to let go. Sir, President Selena was drugged when we found her. Ryan was about to undress her, to take photos. Hearing this, I was furious. Where is he? We've brought him here. With a thud, Ryan was pushed down, kneeling before me, disheveled, bruised from beatings but still gritting his teeth. Just a little more and I'd have succeeded, he sneered. You're lucky, Ethan. Even though I drugged her, she still thought of you. I punched him hard, coldly saying, Who are you to steal my woman? Get him out of that villa and ban him from all social media. The guards nodded, dragging Ryan out. I took Selena to the hospital. The doctor checked her carefully and gave her an 4. When the medicine takes effect, she'll be fine, he said. As I was about to leave, Selena grabbed my hand. Ethan, don't leave. It's all my fault, don't abandon me. Though she was drowsy, she still apologized. Looking at her flushed cheeks, I sighed, gently patting her hand. I'm not leaving. Don't worry. Selena held my hand tightly, not letting go. By midnight, I couldn't help dozing off. Vaguely, I felt cold all over and instinctively moved toward a warm source. When I woke up, a woman's laughter rang above me. I knew you couldn't abandon me, she said. I immediately pushed her away, blushing, about to step back, but she held me tight. Husband, I know you still care about me. If not, you wouldn't have saved me. Thank you. I took a deep breath, speechless. Why did Ryan drug you? Didn't you give him a chance? Heaven and earth witness, husband. Ryan called me, saying he had photos of you with another woman. He blackmailed me for $20 million. I had no choice but to go. I don't want to think about it anymore, Selena said, kissing my cheek. Thank you, husband. You're so kind-hearted. As for Ryan, I'll never forgive him. Hearing this, I asked, didn't you agree to let him make money for you? From love to hate, now I never loved him. He was once my colleague's lover at a partner company, which I intended to acquire to complete the merger. That's why I tolerated him. But he dared to plot against me and wanted me to help him save face? No way. So it's good I've already had him thrown out. Selena hugged me tightly. Husband, you did well. I gently pinched her cheek. All right, let go. Everyone's laughing at us now, right? Liam is actually your aunt's son, Selena said, stunned. After a moment she responded. Liam, Richard's son. So that's it. I told you my mother didn't do those things. Ethan, don't scare me like that again, do. You know my mother, and I almost couldn't. I stayed silent, hugging her tightly. After Selena recovered, my in-law is reconciled. We welcomed Richard and his son to live with us. Report somehow getting the news rushed over. I looked outside and whispered, how did Ryan know our whereabouts and how did you find me? Husband, the night style photo you took went viral online. Who wouldn't know? Ryan got to me before you. He secretly took your photo. Of course he knew where you were, so that's it. The makeup artist posted my photo, which I hadn't noticed, but Selena saw it and followed me. But now with so many reporters swarming in, I truly didn't know how to handle it. Selena held my hand. My mother protected your father, announcing to everyone that we miraculously survived the disaster, just recovering outside for half a year before returning. But those night-style photos I took online completely exposed me. Nisons discovered I was running a homestay in the tourist area, recovering my health. It's just traveling and relaxing, right? They must have divorced, right? What about Ryan? I heard he was thrown out. Did the legitimate wife win? Ryan was the lover of the general manager after being acquired by Selena. He lost his value and was immediately kicked out. Seeing these comments, I felt a bit ashamed. The rumors outside had indeed affected the Selena family, but Selena and her mother acted swiftly, and soon the gossip disappeared completely. My father-in-law and I were drinking tea in the garden when he suddenly handed me a black card. Dad, what are you doing? I haven't spent all that money yet. Here, take it son, later I'll ask her for more. The mother and son cried painfully, saying if I don't spend her money she'll suspect I'm planning to run away. This bowl of dog food was directly stuffed into my mouth. I was helpless, having no choice but to accept. Ethan, when a woman feels anxious, a man can sit firmly. Leighton, go to the bar tonight. My father-in-law's words surprised me. He winked at me, making me laugh. No problem, I'll hide it from Dad. The father-in-law and son-in-law reached an agreement that night. My mother-in-law was urged by my father-in-law to attend a dinner party. I also drove Selena there, carefully warning her to watch over Selena and not let anyone bother her. Finally, I secretly went to the bar with my father-in-law. The urban bar was truly different. Both quality and quantity were double that of the tourist area. I watched women spinning wildly on stage, occasionally bending down to tease them. The air was filled with the sin of allure. Some even approached me, asking me to touch their slender waists, making my face blush. My father-in-law stood by, laughing non-stop. Don't be afraid, it's a waste not to. We paid to come here. I reached out when suddenly a hand appeared from nowhere, grabbing my wrist. Husband, are you dizzy? Immediately after, my father-in-law was embraced by my mother-in-law. Why isn't it enough to watch at home? You have to come here too. Let me explain, I said, narrowing my eyes at Selena, a bit confused. Aren't you attending the dinner? I am, but I just saw someone here and knew you'd come. Enjoying the beauty, she said. Hearing this, I immediately laughed. Selena raised her brows, pulling me away while my father-in-law was tightly held by my mother-in-law from behind. We helplessly looked at each other, having no choice but to leave back home. I regretted the millions spent only watching for 2 minutes before being dragged back. Seeing my appearance, Selena frowned. What's wrong? Can't bear it? I was startled. No, it's nothing. If not, that's good. I've decided to punish you a bit, so you don't have time to look at them. I was a bit worried, intending to explain further, but was stopped by her kiss. That night Selena acted like a knight all night, making my back ache. A year later, she gave birth. At that time, I was leaning on the bed watching Selena hold the baby sleeping in her arms, feeling warmth. Husband, on the baby's one moan in celebration. I have a gift for you. Subconsciously, I wanted to refuse, but she handed me a film and television company contract in my name. We've signed contracts with many beautiful, innocent actresses, but you're only allowed to look, not touch. I love you so much, husband. I rushed over to kiss her. Selena smiled and hugged me. At that moment, I felt happiness surrounding me. Of course, I wouldn't forget my father-in-law.